Hello everyone, welcome back to Study Crunch. Now we are going to start off with a new course, that is Digital Signal Processing. In this lecture we are going to study about what is DSP, that is Digital Signal Processing, block diagram, its application, advantages, disadvantages, difference between DFT versus DTFT, and properties. So let's start. What is digital signal processing? We can break this term digital signal processing and system. First of all, what is a digital signal? Digital is actually a discrete signal to represent the data using binary number. What is signal? Signal is the information carrier. So it carries information which conveys data within a time or a space region. So we can say that it varies with time, space, or any other independent variable. So signal is basically the carrier of digital data. Then what is processing? Processing is performing the operations on the digital signal which are being carried. And what is the system? System is any physical entity or physical entity for the processing of the system. So in all, we can conclude that DSP is basically process of representing a signal in discrete mathematical sequence of numbers and analyzing it, modifying it, or extracting the data contained, carrying out the algorithmic operations and processing on signals. So basically digital signal processing is carrying a digital data through a processing system that is applying number of operations on the system or the signal so that we can convey the data. Now let's look at a block diagram of DSP system. First of all, we have a microphone which is given to signal conditioner, that is basically op-amp in our case. Then is the anti-aliasing filter. Then comes the analog to digital converter. Then is the processor. Then is digital to analog converter. Then again there is a smoothing filter. Then we get to the output of the system. So this is the basic block diagram. Now let's see. In our case we have transducer, that is which converts sound into electrical energy. So what we do is we have to take some or the other input. So if we have a sound signal, then we have to convert it into the electrical signal which is converted by a transducer. In our case it is a microphone, right? So microphone is used as the transducer. Then is the signal conditioner, that is it will condition or it will amplify the signal according to the limits of the signal to be transmitted. Suppose if we have to send a signal which has to be along its path is very long, then we have to arrange its limit or we have to modify its limit so that the data is not corrupted. So op-amp is used to amplify the data. Then anti-aliasing filter is used to convert analog to digital signal. Till now it was electrical signal which was in the analog form. Now we'll be converting it into the digital form. So it will allow frequency up to a threshold to pass for it to convert to a analog to digital signal, which is done by analog to digital converter. So it will pass on the digital signal. Then comes the processor. Processor, what does a processor do? It actually processes the data, that is it applies operations on the data. It can be either if we want a signal, suppose if we want a loud amplified output, then it will condition the signal or it will put operations on the signal likewise. Usually we use CMOS or even ULSI processors which has high speed and high data threshold or throughput. Then comes the digital to analog converter, which will obviously convert the digital signal to analog signal for it to pass through the smoothing filter. Now what will be the filter doing? Filter will match the acquisition rate in accordance with the input before it was converted from analog to digital. Then that will be the acquisition rate which it will be matching to. Then comes the smoothing filter. Smoothing filters, basically what it does is it will smooth out the any harsh edges, that is it will remove the unwanted frequency component from the signal. Then comes the loudspeaker, which is our output in our case. So it will now give us a high amplified output. So this was a basic block diagram or block representation of DSP system. Now the applications. What are the basic applications of the DSP? Talking about the applications, it is used in telecommunication for suppose echo cancellation, equalization, filtering, multiplexing and repeating. Then comes the instrumentation and control. It is used in PLL circuits, noise reduction circuits, compression of signals, function generators. Then comes the digital signal processing used for compression of images, enhancement, restoration, phase detection. Then comes the speech processing, digital audio synthesis, recognition. In medical terms, it is used in X-rays, ECGs, EEGs, signal filtering, noise removal, shaping spectrum. In military, it is used in sonar or navigation. Then in consumer electronics that we use in our day-to-day lives, it is used in music players, music turnables. So this was the application of DSP system. Now what are the advantages of DSP? Why we are using DSP? First of all, it has less overall noise. We know that we have a digital signal. So with the digital signal, we have many advantages. Let's see. First of all, it is low probability of getting mixed with each other. As it is digital, it works only on 0, 1 signals, right? Then its error and correction and detection is also easy. You must have studied in ITC, that is that we can use parity check to detect the signal if it is if it has error or not. Then we have data storage is easier. It can be stored in memories, as we were not able to store the analog signal, which was usually stored in those large tapes, right? Then we have encryption is easier to process, it undergoes various operations. Then we have it can transfer more data, so we have TDM systems, right? So on over a single path we can transfer many data bits. Then we have easier to modify. It can be modified as it doesn't have RLC components, so it doesn't need to verify and test again and again if we want to change a circuitry. Then if we have only software things, it is easier to implement, right? Then we have work on the broader frequency range. So it is possible to make it work on different specific regions as well. Next, what are the disadvantages? Now everything comes with its disadvantage as well, right? So basic disadvantages are it is complex, as we use filters and converters, that is analog to digital and digital to analog converters. Those are the complex systems of the entire circuitry. Then we have power. So we know that transistors, if we are using a transistor, then it will consume power. So it has active components like transistors as well. Then we have Okay, if we are not pre-equipped with the knowledge of DSP system, that is how any software will work, then it can be time consuming. Then we have loss of information during the quantization time, that is when you are converting analog to digital signal, that is quantization time, right? In control system you might have heard about the word quantization. So in the quantization, many bits or the data bits are also lost. So it can be a little tricky to quantize those signals. Then the cost is always a point in designing any circuitry. So cost is a little bit more than the analog system. Now, what is the difference between DTFT and DFT? First of all, DTFT stands for discrete time Fourier transform, whereas DFT is discrete Fourier transform. We have the formulas of both, right? Now let's start. First of all, starting off with DTFT. DTFT has infinite continuous sequence where Xn is a discrete signal, whereas in DFT the difference comes that it is a finite non-continuous discrete sequence. When DTFT is a continuous infinite sequence, then the DFT is finite and non-continuous, both are opposite. Then DTFT is a periodic signal, then DFT is, it doesn't have periodicity. DTFT can be calculated over infinite summations, that is continuous signal, so we can take n number of summations. But for the calculation of DFT, it is not that same. We have to calculate it over a finite period of time. So finite sequence is required. Then in DTFT we have a term omega, right? The omega is an exponential function. It is the exponential function in continuous frequency component. In DFT what we did was we replaced the omega with 2 pi by n, right? So when we replaced this term with 2 pi by n, it automatically gave us the finite sequence. Now DTFT gives a higher number of frequency components because it is continuous, so it can give n numbers of frequency components, whereas DFT will be limited to a number. Then DTFT is from the range of minus infinity to infinity, and so we can conclude that it gives us both positive and negative frequency ranges, whereas DFT, since it is from 0 to n minus 1, it only gives positive frequency range. DTFT is more accurate than DFT. We have to take more samples in DFT to make it accurate. Then DTFT contains some values of DFT, but DFT only contains the value in which they coincide with the numbers. So this was the basic difference between the DFT and DTFT. I hope it is now clear. It is much clearer to understand what is DFT basically. Now let's start off with the properties of DFT. First property says that it is linear. So linearity property is, if we have a signal xn, so we have a sample signal xn and what we get is xk, right? In the whole lecture you will only say this. So xn is the normal term, whereas xk is the DFT of the sampled signal. So if we take xn and we apply any operation, then if we have a into x1n plus b into x2n, then both can be added linearly. So it is a linearity property is satisfied. Then comes time reversal property. Time reversal is reversing a sequence in time domain reverses a sequence in frequency domain as well. So if we have x of minus n, then x of n minus m, capital N represents the period of signal. So on taking the DFT, we have x of capital N minus n, which will give us x of n minus k. We will look forward with this property as well. Okay, let's look at number 3 property, that is periodicity. What is periodicity? Periodicity is basically when a signal repeats itself. That is, if suppose we have at 0 we have 1, at 3 we have a value of 4, and this signal, that is from 0 to 4, this you can 0 to 3, you can see it is repeating from 4 to 7 as well. So this is the periodicity, that is a signal repeats itself. So x of k plus capital N will give us x of k. Let's see by an example. So we have, suppose same example we are taking, we have to find the value of x of minus 1. Now how we'll find? You know that x of n plus n is equal to x of n. So if we put n we want is minus 1. So minus 1 plus 4 will give us x of minus 1. How? We have, for suppose x of 5, we have x of 1, x of 5, we have x of 1, the same value which is on the RHS. Then x of 1 plus 4, that is we can write 5 as 1 plus 4, which will give us 5. Then n is equal to 1 is equal to 4. Now we can put the values in this. So x of minus 1 plus 4 is equal to x of minus 1. So 4 is the number, that is if we have 4 and minus 1, the value at x of minus 1 is 4. Next is the time shift property. What does this property says? That if we rotate this number at or shift this number at right side, that is on the clockwise side, then it will be n minus 1, whereas if we shift this number at anti-clockwise direction, it will be n plus 1. Just remember this. So x of n minus L is equal to x of k wn to the power kl, right? And plus minus L, that is the shift in the property. So if we have n minus L, then it will be plus kl, and if we have n plus L, it will be minus kl. We'll be looking forward with examples on the problems in the next lesson. Then it will be very clear then. Frequency shifting property. Frequency shift is if we have the formula x of k minus L. So again k minus L we have minus nL, and for k plus L it will be n plus L. So just remember, then if it is n minus L, it will be kl, and for n plus L it will be minus kl. Whereas for k minus L, it will be minus nl, and reverse for the other one. Now comes the complex conjugate property. If we have a signal and we conjugate it, then it will give us n minus k. Like we have 1 plus 2j, 3 plus 4j, 2 plus 2j, 3 minus 4j. When we complex conjugate it, it will be 1 minus 2j, 3 minus 4j, 2 minus 2j, 3 minus 4j. This is the complex conjugate. Then we have the convolution property. If we have a signal xn and hn and we circle, okay, so this is the sign of circular convolution. It will give us hk into xk. Multiplication property, if we multiply these two signal, we can get the convolution of the same. Okay, so this was end of this lecture. In next we'll be going to look forward to some examples so that the properties can be more clear to you, right? If you have any doubt, you can always ask me in the comment section below.